record in the cloud. Okay, it appears we are recording. So welcome everybody to the SSB Ground School series. We have a great guest for you again tonight. But before that, we've got a bunch of people here, and we've been inviting, we'd like to welcome some of our non-member guests. We have a number of prospective members who are waiting to join the club. And if I guess everybody's muted, so hopefully we have oops, what do I do here? Everybody's muted, but all those who are prospective members, can you raise your hand or otherwise announce yourselves? Oh, wow, there's a bunch. Well, anyway, welcome, and we look forward to having you in the club as soon as we can. As you know, the virus is kind of keeping us from getting all the instructors as active as they want to be, and we want them to be. We also have a number of guests who are on the email distribution list who are outside the club, are soaring pilots around Colorado and also outside of Colorado. So if all of you who are non-members but soaring pilots outside of the Boulder area, please raise your hand, and we wanted to give you a warm welcome and thanks for joining the SSB Ground School. Also want to give a special mention to Clemens, who is now officially, as of yesterday, the new SSB president. We thank him for stepping in for his service, and want to give him a special welcome and to the group.
All right, thank you, Armand. I won't be taking your time.
Well, you know, I was going to say that you were you've been elected president for life. That might.
you wish. Yeah, your turn will come, Armand.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're kind of the president she of of SSB rather than CCP. But any rate, we have our special guest pilot tonight is Colin Berry. Colin is a past SSB president of note in that regard.
We met him in Parowan. This guy that he's talking about, Bob Colin Berry, we met him in Parowan.
Okay, good. Yeah, he gets around. He goes all over and does a lot of soaring. And any rate, Colin is a past Soaring Society of Boulder president. He started his flying career in Australia, mate, in hang glider. He's got about 2,000 hours in hang glider. He went to the World Hang Gliding Championship. He was a participant there in France. He also has about 2,000 hours in sailplane gliders and holds a gold badge with 3 diamonds, no less. 19 state records in both Colorado and Utah. He created the 14er challenge, which will be talked about at length by another member in a couple weeks. That's an exciting thing that you can, it's kind of unique to Colorado in that you have to fly over all 55 or whatever the count is of 14,000-foot peaks in Colorado. He also flew the border to border challenge, which is a very long flight. So you fly from Boulder down to the border at New Mexico, do a UE, and then go up to Wyoming and fly into Wyoming, and then come back to Boulder. Colin told me he was very cold at the end of that flight. It's a long flight. So he was the first to complete that challenge, and that also gave him a state record. Colin, Colin offered to teach me how to use CU for flight planning. I'm able to do it pretty well on the UDI, on that rendition of CU, but I was having trouble doing it on the computer. And Colin is a computer guru. He's made his career in software. He's retired now, but still has a lot of those good techniques in computer and understands it a heck of a lot better than a lot of us. And so instead of just having him teach me how to do it, I asked him, gee, why don't you teach the whole group how to do it? And he graciously agreed to do that. And with that, I will turn it over to Colin. Colin, please take it away.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the very kind introduction there, Armand, and congratulations to Clemens and for taking over as the president. It's heavy lies the crowd, I'm going to tell you. Yeah. But, okay, so as Armand said, I was asked to give this presentation, and firstly, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be a presentation about CU, which is a kind of tool that was developed in Europe to assist with flight planning, and it sort of moved on, and it was originally designed for glider pilots, and it went on to, you know, a lot of the parachutists and hang glider pilots now use it, and it gives you the ability to visually create a set of waypoints and then create tasks for those waypoints, go out and fly your flight, and then replay your IGC file within this tool and see how you're going. So this is kind of like a bookend, as Armand mentioned, to Bob Ferris's talk last week where he did weather. You know, hopefully for all those attendees, you now are experts on weather, and you now are ready to get going in the springtime and fly some of these flights. So, cursor. So, as I said, it's software developed by glider pilots. It's not developed by accountants or, you know, or car guys or whatever. These are real glider pilots, and to me, it allows you to set up a set of waypoints and then fly with options to look at tasks. Where are the airports on your route? Where are the landing fields? And really to fly with a mission. So the Boulder Club is very strong on flying in the LLC. Badges and records, it sounds like me and Bob Ferris get them all by the sound of the numbers we've accumulated. But there's lots of records out there. You just go to the Soaring Society of America's site, look at soaring achievement, and then look at local or Colorado records or Utah records, and there's a whole swag of them there. And depending on your glider type, you might get it easy. In the past, I've had it real easy for a few months or few years, because the standard class records were pretty humble, and so they were, you know, quite a few were very easy to beat. They've gradually got more and more difficult and challenging, and this, you know, now I've actually sold my standard class glider, and I've turned to the dark side, and I'm getting a motorized glider next month. I'll be looking there to see some new ground. So as I said, your badges, the club, I really hope that some of the new pilots look at getting their badges. It's a fantastic experience, and they're really easy to achieve. Apart from getting the paperwork right, the flying is actually quite straightforward, but getting the proper procedures down to make it happen is quite tough. So I'll give out a personal message here that anybody from our club who wants to do their badge and is serious about them, I will help and mentor them on that. And I believe there's going to be a presentation actually later in the series about badges themselves. I think you're doing that, Armand, aren't you? Or someone did. I remember seeing that. There's also flying with a mission to complete a personal challenge. Armand mentioned the 14er challenge. This is to fly over the indeterminate number of 14ers there are in Colorado. And this requires real planning to achieve. You've got to get the waypoint file, locate these things, figure out what airport you're going to fly out of, and then go and fly them. And part of the challenge I found with the 14ers with the last about 9 that I completed on my very last flight to complete the challenge, they're all pretty well close together. And you're bombing along at 60 miles an hour, and you're like a slalom skier going through these waypoints. So it's well worth your while using these tools to get the database inside of your flight computer and move on and actually follow the magenta line and steer yourself towards these things. So as said, it gives you, when you upload the product of the CU desktop, and there's actually a web-based version in your cockpit. Hopefully, you'll get moving maps, and you'll be able to declare those tasks into your secure data logger. I flew with the UDI, and I maintain a list of about 40 tasks that I choose on the day of the flight. And I get to the airport, I take a look at the sky, I figure out what I'm going to do. I select one of those pre-baked tasks from a list and say declare from my UDI, and it went straight into my FLAM data logger. That's the data logger I was using. And you go and fly the flight, and you come back, and you've got a completed declared flight if you make it. So I always find that declaring flights rather than swanning around inside of doing this OLC stuff where you got 6 legs of a task that you can use to complete a flight, you're just swanning around the sky, flying along cloud streets, and it's far more, I'll say, old school and more manly to fly declared tasks. It's really it makes you really plan and work and read the weather, and you don't have to put a cross on it. It's not a terrible cross to bear. I will instantly abandon one of these tasks as soon as I realize that today is not the day to do it. But we get into this feedback loop of I've drawn up this diagram here where you plan with CU, you get your weather, you go out and you navigate the task and hopefully complete it. You download your IGC file, and you see, CU, the CU product allows you to analyze your flight and see how you did and what you could do better. And then you kind of throw that back in your plan, and you go round and round that loop ad infinitum. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. I'll just talk about the product itself. On the right-hand side there, hopefully it's on your right-hand side. I can't remember whether this is reversed or not. You have an image of what CU looks like when it's running inside a Windows application. One of the limitations of CU in the past would be that it was a Windows-only product. And that forced, all the people in Colorado, all the tree huggers here in California, they all run on the Mac, so you had to run some emulation software to emulate a PC on your laptop or computer. But CU actually, I kind of think they were aware of this, that this really constricted their marketplace. So they're moving more and more of the product into a cloud-based solution that runs inside your browser. And it kind of, so instead of looking like that, here's CU now running in the browser. There's a task here designed. Here's for all those who, guests in our presentation, KBDU over here is Boulder. And this is a little task that I've got. And over here, I've got my system because I'm a subscriber to SkySight, the weather service that Bob mentioned last week. Once again, just like people were commenting about my CU desktop, how I've got today's task. It says clean the house. Inside of CU in the cloud, you get this is a whole swag. I remember I mentioned that I fly with about 50 tasks all ready to go. There's like 300K triangle to the north, and there's a little umbrella beside it. That means that you can't do that today because the weather is crap and it's the middle of winter time, and so you can't do it. Then don't even bother. And as fortunately as we move into the more and more sawable months, you'll see a little smiley sun face come up here, and it will show you the tasks that you can complete. But if we look at just looking at the pricing of CU, 1 second, hopefully it's at an introductory level free, which is a great price, and if you want to pay, many of the companies like my last company, we've moved to a model where you're trying to charge per year for the software, and so you can get the free version or the 60, and that sort of has euros, so I don't know what the euro is today, but $65 or something a year, and you got to look at what the difference is between the free one and the cloud one. And the cloud or the free one allows you to manipulate a single waypoint collection. That means you can maintain let's say you got Boulder is your waypoint collection, which you can download from the Worldwide Term Point Exchange. It lets you muck about within that and create tasks. It lets you look at post-flight. It lets you look at one flight, and you can. But it includes, I think, a product that some of you newbies to this soaring sport, where you don't have flight computers within your cockpit. They actually provide a product that runs on your Android phone or your iPhone, which I will demonstrate a bit later on in this presentation, which I think is really fantastic. And it will give you you can punch in where you're going and you can navigate home. The paid version gives you, XC navigation gives you navigation to waypoints. So you can say, go to Boulder, gives you something, I've just seen all these things because I had to do some research to put this presentation together. It gives you live weather in the cockpit. I mean, I know Bob Corwell and all these guys with their new super duper LX9000 series where they're getting real-time weather. CU Navigator will give you weather in the cockpit, and also final glide to target and a logbook feature. And it says avoid airspace, but their airspace model is using the Open Glider network, which is not really well supported here in the US. So I don't put much stock in that. So get back to here. So we know the price is good. If you're a brand new guy, you don't have to pay anything. So that's always a good number. But like we did, we made our money by making people, tease them into buying the full-on product. So here's the fundamentals of running CU. You maintain a waypoint collection. You don't have to start from scratch. Waypoint collection around here in Colorado would be all the airports, some of the significant mountaintops, dams, and whatever, churches, who knows, and all the 14ers is a set of waypoints, and they're stored within a file on your computer with an extension CUP, and that's the database. The CU runs on this day. It's really a text file. It's nothing magical. You can open up with Notepad and take a look inside of it. But that CUP contains all the waypoints that you have for Boulder. In my case, I have a collection for Boulder. I have a collection for Parowan. I have a collection for Moriarty, and I just load that into my Glide computer as needed. And then using that collection of waypoints, which you can also, there's a website called the Worldwide Turn Point Exchange. I'm going to provide a link to all these things at the end, so you don't need to write these down. They got to get them. You can go there and you can pick a waypoint file. You can select, I want the waypoints for United States, Colorado, and then you can download those to your computer and run with those. And so once you got those waypoints, if you noticed on the screen I had before, you can create tasks with these waypoints. Basically, you draw lines between waypoints that you're interested in, and CU calculates the distance between those two, sees if it's what they call FAI compliant, something I'll mention in a bit, and then you can actually store those tasks within that. They're actually stored within the CUP file. So the CUP file is like a unit, and if you save out CU to that file again, and then you copy that onto your flight computer, either with a flash drive, or you can do it by the cloud with some of these products. When you get next time you turn up in your glider, there is an updated database with all the waypoints you want, and away you go. You pick one and fly it. So you can have on your flight computer, you can have multiple waypoint collections. So as I said, I've got a collection for Boulder. I've also got a separate collection for the 14ers, both of which are available on this Worldwide Turn Point Exchange. But there's so many waypoints that people have historically created around Boulder. To me, it's a mess. I'm going to show you this mess, and I'm going to show you how to resolve this problem. And then when I'm flying out by Telluride, and there's no airport. Well, there's Telluride Airport, but there's nothing else around there. You could go in and then select, in addition, the 14er waypoints, and so you could have multiple waypoint files running simultaneously inside your flight computer. You can, before you take off, you select a task and declare it as required. If you're just doing something that's for fun, you don't really need to declare it. One of the advantages of though declaring it, you can get I'm sure you're all familiar with the OLC. And, it has sections for the speed and club and distance and whatever. Look at the top, you'll see there's another one there that says Barron Hilton Cup. And if you're flying declared flights, you complete a flight with a valid pre-declaration, you actually get in the Barron Hilton Cup. And, so I think Nick Kennedy, I don't know if Nick's on or not, but Nick Kennedy last year said, well, we should erase all the records in Colorado every year and start again, or every 10 years. And but rather than doing that, it's better to fly declared flights and score yourself in the Barron Hilton Cup. And you get benefits like you get a Hilton Club membership. Everybody gets those. Okay. You fly your task. At the end of the day, you download your IDC file. So So I was trying to then, wonder how the hell I'm going to make this presentation interesting. I didn't want to just do a load of clicks and, all that stuff. I thought I'd try and frame things in the sense of how we fly out of Boulder and how we can plan tasks out of Boulder. And, I won't say apologies. I feel bad for the people who don't fly out of Boulder. All your people from out of state are watching this. You should really come and live in Boulder, because this is the best flying that there is. You're wasting your time wherever you are. Okay. And if you are flying out of Boulder, for the newbie guys in Boulder, I think there's really 3 routes that we typically fly out of Boulder. I don't know whether people who disagree out there, but if you look over here on the right hand side, here's Boulder right about here. You got to start somewhere. Start at Lee Hill, which is just behind Boulder and within the 15-kilometer OLC race kind of start point, which we do on the weekend. And there's one route that basically goes up to Laramie. There's another route which go down to Salida. These are all the typically there's some kind of convergence line there where it'll focus the lift. The third one is you go down, going down to Fremont County, Cannon City. So this one up here is flying the northern front range. This is flying the southern front range with respect to Boulder. This is going into the mountains down towards Salida. So if you start at this, these are just super intimidating. The first time you go south and you just jump over the top of Mount Evans and you're heading down this way, you go, good grief, what am I doing? Why am I in this sport? And but if you know what's out there, it's actually you can feel really comfortable out there. There are places where you can land, and that's why we're using CU, so we can know where these places are and feel confident that they're going to be there when we turn up. And so if we just examine one of those routes going from Lee Hill, who's Boulder just here, for all those who don't know it, and we're going up to Wyoming, Laramie. It's a common route. This is all super high ground until you get out here to Laramie, and then you turn and come back. And if so the first question is that so is it good for a 300? This is good for a 300K diamond goal. And I know there's people here who haven't even got the Silver Sea, and they're probably going, that's a bit, that's a lot, And my answer to them is, you don't have to fly all the way up here, but no matter what you do, even if you only fly up to Estes Park, you're flying up this way. You're just not going all the way. And really, there's no, I think Clemens on one of his wonderful newsletters or vlogs or whatever he calls them, said there's like bucket 1 and bucket 2 and bucket 3 pilots. I'll leave it to people who don't know what those terms mean to go and look at Clemens' site, but he describes it very well. People who just swan around the airport, people who leave the airport with no idea, and then people who leave the airport with a plan. Okay? So if you're just one of those swanning around the airport, I'm sure you've got up to like here, which is the Twin Sisters, and really, if you get there, you actually are getting pretty close to Laramie, believe it or not. You can get there. You can make this in three, four climbs. You can make it because we're flying at 18,000 feet. And so, but on the way up, you've got to say, well, what am I going to do? So if I get here and I start getting low, I could fly out to I think that's Longmont there, and then I could fly out to Carter Private there, and then I could fly out to Loveland, Fort Collins. So that's Crispin Field. Don't fly out to this thing, which is Loveland, Fort Collins, Because every time I've decided to go out there, I've landed there. It's just hopeless. It's a sinkhole. Okay. Here's up here. This is Owl Canyon. Look, we're getting kind of a long way here from the run line. And then there's supposedly a runway up here at Colorado Wyoming line. It's always been in my database. I checked it out on Google Earth just earlier, and I put a big question mark in front of it. You know, whether it's actually a landable place. Here's a mystery place that Clemens has put me onto. I'm not going to ruin Clemens's presentation by giving away all these secrets, but it's like little happy times can be had with that place. And finally, you get to Laramie, and so first thing is could we tweak this plan? Okay, and if I go and look at my 1 second, if I get where is it? Where's that's presenter view? Pardon me. I've not got CU running. Pardon me. Oh, here we go. It's over here. So I'll bring it in. Oh, can you all see that? Yep. See it? See you? And first thing I'll do is I'll load up.
No, we can't see it, Colin.
Okay, 1 second. New share. Share. How about now?
It works.
Good. I'll show you what I think is a problem with these files you can download from the Worldwide Term Point Exchange. And once again, I didn't want to get the mechanics of how you go through all these nitty-gritty tasks. I'm more than happy if people want to put together another Zoom session where I go through this. But this is more about the conceptually using the product. See, if I look, this is currently the Boulder, the CUP. See, it's got CUP. This guy. This is the Boulder waypoint file as downloaded from the Worldwide Term Point Exchange. And if I look at the waypoint list, there's 295 within 100 miles of Boulder. And if you look at it on a map, I'll just make up here, sorry, pardon me, view, I'll just get Boulder up. I'll get Boulder up somehow or other. There we go. Okay, pardon me. View, map. What's that? I know Boulder is that way. Make that little hand, you change the tool. Look at all these term points around Boulder. There's just hundreds of them. Golden, you know. And if you're there, you know, if you look, there's 40 term points within 30 miles of Boulder. And so when you're actually flying that, and you're in your glide computer, and you try and select, you know, trying to get something this far up Tabernash, which is over here, you've got to scroll through a lot of crap in order to get to it. It makes it really unmanageable. And in my view, with these modern tools like CU, you might as well just get rid of all the, you know, this is my opinion as well. You just get rid of all these additional term points and just focus down on places within a task and places you can land at. And then if you do that, you know, I just went through and stripped everything out from this file, and I turned out with my 1v5 minimum kind of list. And I don't know whether you can see this now. Here's Lee Hill. There's not all this garbage around here, because we really only start, you know, if we're trying to do a start on task, we really only start at Lee Hill or Gold Hill or Gold Lake, you know, or Button Rock, but we don't need any of that other guff, as far as I'm concerned. So if you look though, it's pretty, now we're pretty minimalistic, you know. Once again, we've got I think this is Colorado, Wyoming line, that place I mentioned. Notice CU pops up a little map. You do better at using Google Earth though. You know, Google Earth is far superior in its map quality than CU's got. Here's Owl Canyon. But if you look, you know, as I said, there's our line, you know, I'm just trying to encourage people to fly up that convergence line. How far is it from that line, the run line, if I used to get my sailing terms right, out to Owl Canyon? If you abandon and you start getting low here, how far is out to there? You can use a tool within CU. Can you see my cursor? I might have to spotlight it or something like that. Where is it? No, see way down the bottom here? Just there. I changed that to that. You click through those little buttons there. It's really a nasty interface down there. It's so tiny. And you can get like a ruler. And then you can put it on a point on the map and you draw it. And if you look right down in the bottom left-hand corner, it says it's 29.5 miles. I don't know whether you can see it or not. It's rather, can you see that or?
No. Barely.
Just barely. It's really hopeless. It's just come up on the line. But that's 30 miles, okay? So is there something we could do tactically to make that better? And the answer is yes. You know, you can just create a waypoint, like, you know, you want to keep the 300K out here, but if you just click here or right click, you can put a waypoint here and you can call it Laramie, give it a name. Laramie East. Okay, so you know it's east of Laramie. It's automatically filled in the altitude, so you know what that is. And you say, okay, now you got a waypoint here. And now you can, using CU, you can, when you're in task mode, you can, I don't know whether you saw that, I kind of picked up the corner of the task and I drag it over here. And now I'm flying to Laramie East, not Laramie. No one flies out to Laramie except me. And they'll land there. Okay, you know, this is the convergence line, and you get up to Red Feather Lakes, and then you have to jump across. This is the high ground to the east of Laramie. This runs up to Laramie Peak, but you're far more likely, you know, in Colorado, if you're tracking the high country, to do better. And so now we've got our task still. It's 173.1 miles out and return. It's probably just a bit shy, actually, of a 300K diamond distance. But notice something that happened. If we now go back to our measuring tool, which is currently loaded, now I measure it, and now it's gone to 18 miles from the run line to get there. So you've gained like 18 miles where you got way back in the mountains, and you kind of got yourself a far better situation to progress. Now, I'm just going to show you another tool that I found that I kind of started to use, and here it goes. Share. Have you got that? Actually, I don't know. I'm running two screens there. Firstly, you've seen like a sectional map.
Yeah, sectional map.
Yeah.
Are you actually seeing? Okay, that's a good one. So this is a product called Glide Plan, and it allows you to download sectional maps from the Soaring Exchange. This link is at the end of this presentation. Don't worry about writing it down. And anybody, first thing for newbie pilots and oldie pilots in Colorado, the first thing you'll notice is that Colorado is right on the border of two maps. You have the northern sectional chart and the southern sectional chart, and you got to tape them together to make a big map that covers Colorado. It's you know, some two was this, I can't remember what the sectional names of it, but you can actually get updated images of these Colorado maps with the things stitched together for you. if I zoom out, gonna zoom, no, reduce. Okay. Oh, thinking. What's doing that? Not responding. Oh, so goes that demonstration. It was going to be really good. Okay, I might have to just start that again. No, we'll come back to that if it lives. Close the program. It's usually super reliable. I didn't write the software. Cancel. So, 1 second. Let's see if I can get it going. It's because it's very nice. And okay. Second. I had this all set up, you know, it's free flowing. Okay, here's anybody who knows the Colorado sectionals and the you know, it's 2 sections. There's Denver, and you have to stick 2 maps together. The glide plan has already pre-stitched them for you, so you don't so you know, when I fly out of Parowan, I have one of these glide plan maps, and then I import my waypoint file, and in my case, it's the one I'm working on, which is my 100 V5 minimum, and it should, if I enlarge it, it gives you really beautiful labels. And I can drag this guy. Oops, there we go. So you can print this guy out. And there's Crestwood Field. Remember I had pity that map went because I'm not going to draw the line, but it kind of went up here sort of thing. But if I go and click on where is Owl Canyon,
North.
keep on going north. Something here's Owl Canyon. Okay. If I click on that guy and put on altitude rings.
That's cool.
Cancel. Do it again. Altitude and get it just right. And it picked up Owl Canyon's altitude. And I say, okay. It drew that ring. But there's a toolbox I got here, and I say, I've got on the glider. Let's say it's a Discus 2 or Discus B. It flies at 40 to 1. I want to arrive at 1,000 foot. In the format, I want to have my max ring out at 18,000 foot. My min ring in at 3,000 foot. Apply. And what it's given me is if I'm flying up here on my little track, remember I was going up to about here where this cursor is, I could be at 10,000 feet back on that line, or that run line. If I'm at 10,000 feet, I can make Owl Canyon. And, you know, if I'm at Laramie, I can, you know, basically at Laramie, if you're 18,000 feet, you can make it almost back to Boulder. So, you know, you can fly, you know, and I suppose the point, I lost my track because I had to reload the map and do all that kind of face-saving stuff. But here's Boulder, here's the Twin Sisters. We've got, if we're at 10,000 feet here, I think it is, I'm looking for if you're at 10,000 feet, these rings are on, I lost it. We've got 2 new rings, pardon me. Edit, delete, last altitude ring. Okay, that fixed it. Thank God. If I'm at the Twin Sisters, if I'm at 13,000 foot, I can make Owl Canyon, you know, provided there's no rock, there's no wind. I'm flying in, as Armand said, German air, where it's, you know, perfect LD air. You can make, you know, so if you make it to Owl Canyon, I think if you land there, you'll get, you know, provided you started in the right place, you'll get a Silver Sea. Now, who here thinks you can get to 13,000 at the Twin Sisters? I think most people can do that. If you're not at 13,000 at the Twin Sisters, you're kind of down in amongst the rocks anyway. So it just shows you what the glide angles of these gliders is. So, and the other thing, if you look at this map as well, see how uncluttered it is, you know, because I've cut down on all the guff, all the 50 turn points around boulders. So what I recommend we kind of start doing is, or actually I'm not going to volunteer for this. I think you should really trim and prune your waypoint file down. I don't think I don't need another cross to bear. I'm more than happy to give you my waypoint file, but I'm not going to maintain it for you. Okay? But getting back to the presentation, so that just shows you. 1 second, new share, and I come back to there. Share. We should be back on the what's it screen on CU now. That's not quite enough for a Silver Sea. So you can pick up the ends of these tasks, and I'll move it to Mount Thoradin. And now I've got an out return, Mount Thoradin to somewhere west of Laramie. It's good enough for a diamond gold, believe it or not. And you can probably do it in 3 or 4 thermals. And if you don't do it, you can land at Owl Canyon, and the tow plane will come and get you. Right? So,
Colin, excuse me, where does it show that you can get it's good for gold?
You'd have to read the section 3 of the sporting code as published on the FAI website.
Right, but
where does this say it's good for gold? Actually, on this map it actually, you'd have to use some math. It's got 197.5 miles in the top right-hand corner.
It doesn't just pop up and tell you.
It doesn't say it, no. But but you have to know the requirements of the thing. That glide plan though, the other product which drew the rings, it would actually say it's good if drew the task on it. It would say it was good for gold. I'm kind of trying to move ahead though, so I'm not trying to get in the weeds on these things. Okay? So let's say you went out and you flew that thing. So let's say Alt Tab. So this kind of shows you that with careful location of the end of your task, you're never going to be able to glide at these runways, provided you maintain a sufficient altitude. So we can always tweak the plan to make ourselves safe. So this is going to be a case study just for a 100K triangle out of Boulder, and I'll have to get going on this one. Just things you need to think about. This is a task I have in my 50 tasks, and if I don't know what to do, I always just fly this one, because at the end of the day, when I'm bored and tired and I, want to go land, I'll say, I'll just give this one a shot and see if I can do a 100K speed triangle, and it adds 100K to my OLC gliding distance. Just nice and easy. When you think about it, the way to fly it is you want to start at one of the corners. Well, you have to for a triangle of 100K. And you want to fly the longest leg, because if this is FAI, you want to fly the longest leg so that in 44% of the total length. That's because I started the wrong way around on that one. The shortest leg of an FAI triangle should be 28% of the total distance. So that allows the longest leg to be 44%. And you want to align, you're trying to do this fast. So you align the 44% in the convergence line. So hopefully you bumble along the convergence line without turning and gradually climbing, and you get to this is with the turn point at the Twin Sisters. You get to the Twin Sisters, and then you just glide it off. You've tried to start at 12, you get to 18, and you glide it off, and without turning for the rest of the flight. And as I said, to do this, you get my 100 minimum turn point, or you go to Lynn Alley's site, download these files. You might want to analyze the weather, and so because you on the days that when you're going to fly this thing, you want to see weather within CU, and you can actually get weather here. I think I get that one. I make my weather responder sky site, and I go down here. I have these tiny buttons on the thing, and I will get. Oops, that turned the weather off. I will turn the weather on, and I'll say I want wind flags, and it will, or this one. The integration seems to work. It just seems to be spotty sometimes, which it is being right now. Okay, but it will give you the wave bars and things like that. I kind of don't, the weather you can display within the desktop Sky or CU product is quite limited, and you're far better off going to the actual CU. My thing is my toolbar is being covered by dashboard CU Cloud. So my toolbar has been covered by my little Zoom kind of meeting thing there. Come up, CU Cloud. And so here's CU Cloud. Remember I said I've been showing you up until now CU on the cloud. Here's CU on the dashboard. This is their free product, but you can buy, spend €60 and get this cloud-based version, which is running in the browser. Move that up there. Yeah. Okay, so I go up here and I go to XC Planner, and I've got a list of waypoints that I kind of put up. It's going to work. And actually, I'll be running out of time of it, do it all. But I've actually here, I sort of just clicked here, drew the line up to the Twin Sisters, drew the line out to Haystack, and drew the line back to Mount Thornton. And so it would be drawing a little, just as you saw on the desktop version, it would draw those lines. But notice you got these little crescenty things, okay? What they mean is, it's saying that it's, in your case, Salman, you asked a question, how do I know it's FAI compliant? See, it says FAI triangle. Okay? If I pick this corner up and move it over to, say, there, where it's not in one of those segments, see, it just says triangle. It doesn't say FAI triangle. So we'll put it back.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. And so you can move these apexes of the corners to any point within these sectors, and you'll have an FAI compliant compliant triangle. And so here's a start. Notice this is what I talked about. This leg is 44% of the total, you know, and these are 28%. I optimized it so I get the maximum time in the convergence line, which kind of, there's Gold Lake. For those who don't fly out of Boulder, if you're at Gold Lake, there's some kind of convergence running north-south.
Hey, Colin,
Yes, sir.
you have to declare that though before takeoff, the triangle.
Absolutely correct. So that's why I say you want to have these things pre-planned, and in, you know, and a menu of these tasks within your glide computer. And then when you're at the airport, you got to look around and you get a feel for what's going on. And they say, oh, today's the day I can try that triangle. A good day for this would be there's a wave, you know, big wave bar up there. And, you know, that's ideal. In fact, myself and Ben Pinnell, I think we set the Colorado state record with exactly this triangle. That we flew this at 101 miles an hour. You know, average. So, you know, and that's, you know, and that's because it was there. We were ready to go. I said, Ben, do you want to fly it? He said, yes. We towed up, got in the wave, flew the triangle, and we were done. So, you know, that's that. So getting, you know, just getting back to, you know, that was a little bit of weather integration. I must admit, the best way to look at these things within the weather, or the weather for these tasks, is to go directly to the SkySight site. And I think you can import your waypoint files there, and then, but it doesn't have integration with the tasks within the waypoint file. So you have to draw them yourself. But SkySight gives you a lot more capability for looking at individual weather features, such as buoyancy shear ratio, height of thermals, height of lift. And so I'd recommend SkySight for weather analysis. And that's, so I just went through, so SkySight, and SkySight will actually recommend, it will actually draw tasks for you. It will, you can say, suggest to me a short triangle, and it will figure out what's the best way, what the best triangle is and which way to fly it, and then based on the weather for that day. We looked at Glide Plan. Glide Plan was the product I looked at where we did the sectionals, and so you can make up your own custom sectional with your own custom waypoints on it and print it out. And as I might have said before, when I fly in Parowan, Utah, I have this really small, you know, it's about 10 inches, or maybe 8 by 10 sectional, which is laminated. You know, it's focused down, or it's shrunk down to the area of interest where I'm flying in. But it's really handy to have these paper charts. What is really difficult is having, or not, these plastic laminated charts. What is difficult is if you're trying to deal with sectionals in a busy cockpit. That's a total bun fight, that thing. Oh, that was just integration with SkySight, and getting these files into your glide computer. So the whole task we've been doing is manipulating data with one of these CUP files. In my case, the one I've been demonstrating is 1v5 minimum.cup. When I want to take that to the airport and put it in my glide computer, up until now, I actually had a UDI, but that disappeared when I sold my glider, so I don't have my UDI anymore. But I could just connect my UDI to my computer, and it would come up like a hard drive, or an external drive on the computer. I just copy that file into the data part of the airports and airspace directory of the UDI, and then I could then go to the UDI and use its files menu to select that file that I copied in there, and all the tasks, all the waypoints are in there, would come up. similarly, the club has these LX navs, like the S80 and the S100. I think we don't want, this is the flash drive on these things. These things are super delicate, so we got to be really careful about, how we have files on there. I'd suggest that we have a designated person that loads up a real, not the 1,000 turn points around Boulder, but just the, just a selected set. I'd suggest my set is pretty good, and with selected tasks, and then you can, if you're we're on this S100. See, we're on the task page, TSK. You get through the various pages by clicking this central button here. And you can step through from Vario pages to waypoint pages to task pages to, the settings. If you look what you're seeing on this inner screen, though, see the photo sectors. Those people who are really old in soaring will know about photo sectors, where people used to have to take photos of these waypoints on the ground. That's why I think we've got hundreds and hundreds of them in these historic waypoint files, where you'd have like chimneys and power lines and railroad intersections. It's just not necessary anymore. But anyway, as you fly along, this little magenta line will point you at where you're flying to. You can set up these nav boxes to say, hey, you could choose to have what's my distance to that point and what's my arrival altitude. There's a product, as I said, CU Navigator. I'm going to try. I mentioned it. Oh, actually, I've got a couple of screens on that. Okay. For those people who don't have a glide computer in their, or it's a pain in the butt, you can go to the Apple Store or the Play Store and download the CU Navigator app, and it's free. And but if you pay for the CU subscription, the €65, and I'm not affiliated with this product. They're not giving me a cutback or anything. You can get additional features such as live weather. If you look at this as a wave day just the other day when I capture this screen, and here's the wind bars and here's the wave bars in real time. I don't know how often it's updated, but I've got to go out and fly with this product and see. And I don't know, is it going to be as good as the LX 9000 series? And it's going to bring live data into your cockpit, and you can navigate to your waypoints. If you look at these next couple of screen captures, you got like a moving map. You can set up nav boxes. You got real-time tracking. Sorry about the quality of screen capture, and then you got screen layers, and you can actually. Here, I'm going to be just see if I can.
Colin, you have to attach to a GPS for that, right?
There's a GPS already in your phone.
In the phone, that'll work?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So if I look, just gonna do it. Share. 1 second. This is actually CU for all that, running on my phone for all those you can see my face, and I can recenter it, and it's got nav boxes down below. They're going to drop out because I'm back in the back blocks of my house, but it's got like ground speed, required LD, current LD. So if I kind of got Boulder selected, but if I change to waypoints to somewhere, Colorado Antique, it's gliding there. See, it's drawn the line, to Colorado Antiques. There's Colorado. These from the waypoint file, and to recenter down the bottom here. Sorry, I'm looking at my phone. I could be looking at this. You know, it's just dropped out because I haven't got good GPS reception back here. We've got the distance there, current LD, required LD, but also you can go down here, select what type of, you know, do you want to convert the convergence lines on here, wave bars, and get rid of that. I don't know whether they got waves around right now, but no waves. Okay, but it'll color them in on here. And as you saw on that previous screen, it was doing it. So here's a real way, if you're unsure, for those newbie pilots who don't have these sophisticated computers in their arsenal, for you to get real-time weather and navigation for nothing.
So Colin, again, if you have a subscription and you use this app on your iPhone, can you do OLC with it? Can you log in OLC file?
I kind of haven't been able to experiment with it. It does seem to. I'm not sure to be tested. It certainly will, and I'm going to show you something in a second. I'll show you something that you can do with it. Okay. So we go back to screen 2. Steer. So you should be back on my desk. So if I look at the, got to get the screens. Yeah. So I can't remember what I was doing. Okay, keep on going. Okay, so that was weather, navigation. You know, in a really cheap computer. And also, if you saw, I don't know whether I've got to really play with this thing. It actually allowed you to bring up a Vario on that iPhone or your handheld device. I'm not sure how accurate it is. It's definitely going to be undamped or not total energy compensated. But one of the things that always used to worry me in at least my discus was I'd run out of power, and all my Varios were electronic. And if you're out in the back blocks of Utah and your Varios disappear, what are you going to do? You know, because you flying without Vario, I've tried it. It is just mind-bogglingly. It's challenging. Okay, so on the day of the flight, you have multiple flights prepared. As Phil questioned, most badges and records you need to declare. You can't declare, obviously, with this iPhone. I don't think so. And at the end of post-flight, you download your IGC file to your data logger. So the club has flash drives in the airplanes that are equipped this way, and you can copy your flight off and email it to yourself or log on to your CU Cloud account inside of the shack and then upload it there. And I think what I'm going to do is just take another look at this CU Cloud and look at, I'll try and quickly look at, sorry, oh, here we go, presentation. If I look at my dashboard on CU Cloud, I don't know why they got this night view or something, but it gives you a little bit of weather, gives you, I don't know, it says circle at Gold Hill. But one of the more powerful things in here I found is you've got a logbook. And what I've been keeping all my files on my hard drive on my computer. I'll back them up as well, but they're kind of really tough to manipulate. So just as a part of the exercise put on this presentation, I uploaded all of my IGC files to this online logbook. And this is part of your $60. You don't get this for the free version. And I do not have all my flights up there, but the world is 26,000 miles in circumference, I think. What is that, diameter? I don't know. Anyway, I've got 82,000 miles. And that's only back to 2003. I've got a whole load more of old files before that. But one of the things I can do, I've seen though that the flight that was in my navigator on my iPhone turned up, or I was just driving around in my car. I think it turned up automatically here in my logbook. But I'm not sure about that. I'm getting old and you kind of forget about these things. But if you look here, here's one of the flights I did this year, and we're just going to analyze it a little bit. Okay, so here it is. It's in the cloud, and I can say, get on here, open it up. And so this is where you learn to fly faster. And it just takes a second. So here was a flight. We talked about the main runs out of Colorado, out of Boulder, and try and fly them so you're maximizing your time over the high ground, and you're trying to fly in the typical convergence lines you get out of Boulder. So here's Boulder up here. There's a convergence line that runs down behind the back of Longs Peak. There's Victor, and then goes over here to, this is the far side of Cannon City. This is a declared triangle that I had. Then I went up to Aspen, and then I went back to somewhere north of, like Lyons or something like that, and then back to my start point at Lee Hill. And now, because you don't need, on these bigger triangles, you don't need to start on the corners, but the person doing the presentation on this will fill you in on all these details. But this thing has got a stunning 3D rendering capability. And hopefully it worked. It's just retrieving the graphics, and they're pretty blocky right now, but they gradually fill in. And just while that's filling in, I'll open the same flight here. I think that's it. Okay, we've got CU. Just trying to get this over and done with. I'm almost done. Here's that same flight within CU. Now CU desktop has its own graphics of displaying 3D flights. One of the things I'd like to just show you though with CU is looking at the statistics page. Clemens would know this just by heart. This is where you look and you find out where you're wasting time. So in this case, it was a flight. It was made on the 8th of the 7th. It was in my glider. Took 7 hours. I went Lee Hill, 500K south, just a waypoint I made up. Aspen, 200K north, another made up waypoint. And then back to Lee Hill. All turn points reached, task completed. Distance, 362 miles. 6 hours on course, 60 miles an hour. Too slow, okay? You look at, flight analysis here, this flight statistics, average climb on this course was 3.5 knots. Clemens is getting like 6 knots or something. You're killing it, Clemens. You're killing it. So that was one of the great things that Clemens did. He put down his on his website his soaring goals for the year, and they were to finish in so many rounds of the OLC contest in the thingy, to fly a 750K, to possibly do 1,000K, and the various others. And you know, you can't fly those 1,000K flights at 3.5 knots. So I've solved that because I've only got so much talent, but I can buy span. Okay, so I've got a bigger glider. You know, but it just, see this number, 36% circling. You got to get that down to 28% maximum. And you know, the winds on this flight, they're all pretty, you know, 16 knots from the west, which for Colorado is, it's pretty mild. Okay, you know, you can make distance with that. And just down here further, it's, you know, part of the flight analysis. You got the Vario. I had 1.7 minutes of over 20 knots. Okay, so that's pretty good. And you know, you can see where most of the flight was spent around 16,000 feet. Most of the flight was at, when I'm gliding, was about 110 miles an hour. You know, so you can gain a lot of feedback on your flight here, and you got to look at these numbers and say, am I flying fast enough? And you know, work out what you're doing that's wrong. Clemens said, fly at 45 degrees, fly accurately. You know, I'm going to try all these things, but I got a bigger glider, Clemens, so watch out.
The biggest issue that
right.
I see on this page is the minus 2.5 NATO on straight.
Where does that say?
If you look at at straight and the total, you see minus 2.5 NATO on straight. So you basically were flying in sync when you were flying straight. That's the biggest issue on this flight.
Okay, yeah, I thought that was good. Yeah, you're right. I'm not flying the lift lines properly, but this thing's kind of filled in now. You know? So I'll bring this screen back on. So that's kind of like tools for optimizing your flight. Look at the quality of this rendering here for this. Where is it? Maybe I'll do it there. You know, it just takes a second to come in, you know, to get the graphics. I think there's, you know, this is coming into Aspen. When you see it, you go, wow. And you can, one of the things you can do is there's buttons here to share with your friends. So you can, you know, it's someone without any software can actually, you can send them a link and they can look at what's going on. So here's Aspen Airport coming up. Down here, there's the airport. That's where the money is. Okay, down there. And you know, and we'll just, you know, but stunning kind of graphics. And you know,
Yeah.
it just, you know, it'll just complete. I think I found if you stop it, it gives it a chance to fill in. But that's basically the presentation. You know, so I talked about you know, building one of these databases of waypoint. Talked about adding tasks there. Talked about don't be slaves to the waypoints. Move them around a little bit, and it'll make your life a lot easier. Talked about getting the flight off and analyzing it to see if you flew better, and you know, that's it. I'm done.
Colin, thank you very much. This has been great. Some great graphics here and some good computer stuff and a bunch of systems I didn't know about that's out there, like this glide plan. I'm probably going to buy a subscription to that. So at any rate, thanks everybody. A couple administrative matters. Next week, we're going to have Alfonso Osorio is going to talk about wave flying. So you'll be able to do a little wave flying in the comfort of your own home without having to go through the rotor and all the cold, listening to Alfonso. He's quite an accomplished wave soaring pilot. So you want to be here again next week, same place, same channel. As for the timing, we did a survey monkey, and about 70% of those who responded said they wanted 7 o'clock, and the other 30% said 6 o'clock. So we'll just leave it at 7. Another, one of the purposes too of this ground school, first is to highlight our wonderful pilots in the club, and we have, I'd say about 21 pilots I was able to identify who have average OLC flights of more than 300K average per flight. So I've labeled them the accomplished pilots. And I'm finding about 14 aspiring pilots. Those are ones that are getting some OLC points, but they're not really racking them up in terms of 300. So what we want to do is we want to highlight the accomplished pilots like Colin and Clemens and some of the other, and Bob Caldwell, who I see here, but also, some of the aspiring pilots, and help them get a leg up. And that's kind of the purpose for this. So as these sessions roll on here, we're going to have some sessions like on the 16th, Clemens is going to talk about declared tasks and badges, but also Ryan is going to come in and talk a little bit about the beginning tasks in the SSB mentoring program, which is yet to be conceived, but this series will help push along that mentoring. And we're going to have towards the end, Scott Vandenwagen is going to tell us about going from the buckets, to use Clemens' terms, how he jumped out of one bucket into the next bucket. In other words, he was just orbiting the field, and then now he's doing, routinely doing 400 or 500 K flights, and then in the series with a capstone for him, where we really get these aspiring pilots involved, and thinking about it, we'll have a panel of the accomplished pilots taking questions and giving comments and telling what they learned over the years to the aspiring pilots. And we'll also pull it together into some sort of mentoring program. And I know that's kind of hard because the accomplished pilots want to go out and fly if it's a good soaring day. They don't really want to fly with somebody else. But we may ask something modest, like the accomplished pilots will donate 1 or 2 good soaring days to fly with the aspiring pilots. And since we have a lot more accomplished pilots than we do aspiring pilots at this point, it shouldn't be that hard to do, but we'll see. I know Clemens is already committed to do 2 flights like that. So we'll want to get that going. So the purpose of this is, to highlight and to teach everybody, but also to make sure that we're bringing up the aspiring pilots, so we can have an even better club than we have today. So I want to thank everybody for listening in. Especially want to thank Colin for giving this great presentation on how to use all this software and how to do some flight planning, and look forward to seeing everybody next week. Are there any comments or questions? if there's nobody has any comments or questions, we'll just conclude for this evening. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much, Armand. Thanks very much, Colin. Well done.
Thanks, Armin and Colin. Great presentation.
Hey, Colin? Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, Colin.
Well, just Colin, I wonder if I could maybe call you up tomorrow or sometime to ask some questions about this.
Who's that? Sorry.
This is Peter Quigley, out by Philadelphia.
Okay. My contact information, I'm just pasting in the chat window.
Okay, thanks.
But
I know Mr. Eklund, so that's how I found my way here.
Great job, Colin.
oh, thank you. Thanks, Armand.
All right, thanks. I got it, Colin.
Everyone.